Eating Raoul is one of those films that the title itself is a spoiler as to where this story ends up going. But even when you know where this story is headed, it's still a lot of fun to follow. It was directed in 1982 by Paul Bartel, who previously directed Death Race 2000. And much like that film, it has the similar amount of dark wit to it, and great energy to it, and also a little bit of commentary here and there. It stars Paul Bartel and Mary Woronov, who play Paul and Mary Bland, who are essentially they live in a very gross version of Hollywood, where everyone is all into swinger parties in their apartment. They're all about sex. There's sex and food everywhere, and their dream is that they eventually want to move out and they want to open up their own restaurant. But in order to do this, they have to build up funds, and they can't really hold down jobs that well. Mary works as a nurse, and Paul used to work as a liquor store clerk, but he's so scrutinizing of like the wine that they order that he kind of like steers people away from the more expensive stuff that might not be as good. So he ends up getting fired for that. And they figure, well, there's so many terrible people in the world. There has to be a way that good people like us can make money, even though everyone around them is a little bit weird, but Paul and Mary themselves are actually pretty weird themselves. I mean, they have this very odd manner of like speaking to each other. They sleep in separate beds with plushies. In particular, Paul sleeps with I think it's like a giant wine plushie. I'm not even sure how they made that, but it's so adorable. So they figure, well, we need to make some money so that we can buy a restaurant, but we don't really have a lot of it. So they come up with this great plan, like, well, one of the swingers breaks into their place and they accidentally kill him. And they figured, like, well, what if we invite more swingers over, and then we can kill them and then take their money, and then we can use that money to buy up our restaurant. And they end up going about this, and eventually they gotta worry about, well, what do we do with the bodies? Because if we have so many of these cadavers coming through, we gotta get rid of them. And so they enlist the help of Raoul, who has connections to kind of like dump bodies off. But then Raoul starts getting wise to them, and he starts wanting a little bit more, including specifically he wants Mary, in this kind of like odd little love triangle. The humor in this place, the humor in this film, it is so, it goes for it. Like when they have swinger parties, they're very odd and out there. The characters speak very openly and almost kind of like cartoon characters here and there. But through it all, Paul and Mary try to maintain this dignity throughout it. That's just so adorable. The way that they speak so like matter of factly about murder, as if trying to like justify like an old married couple. They're so great in this film that Paul and Mary would actually reprise their roles in Chopping Mall, and they would actually star together in a few other films where they weren't really Paul and Mary Bland, but they you like to think they were. And of course, because it's directed by the director of Death Race 2000, you might recognize a few familiar faces here. Obviously, Paul helped out with Death Race 2000, but then you have Don Steele, who is kind of like the announcer of Death Race 2000. He's in this film as well, kind of pretty much playing this similar role of, just kind of being like that big announcer guy saying like, hey, I'm the host with the toast with the most. Oh, and he's so much fun to watch. Eating Raoul, just, it goes for it. I mean, with the manner in which, they invite over these swingers, they put on all kinds of odd costumes. At one point, they decide to crash a swingers party so that they can make a whole lot more money. So there's a really great death where Paul kills a whole bunch of people at once in a hot tub, which is just brilliantly staged for comedic effect. And it's just, I don't know, there's something so oddly sweet about it. I think it mostly comes from Paul and Mary, just bringing this sort of odd little dignity to this film that involves murder and getting rid of bodies and swingers and people dressing up as like Minnie Mouse and Nazis, and I don't know, there's just something I love so much about it that makes it such a little undiscovered gem that I absolutely love recommending.